Hello, everyone. This is Peter Deswood. So, a couple days ago, I was on Facebook looking at stuff, and there's this amazing story that I came across about some history about Navajo people. So, I just wanted to share this really quick. So, this particular write up, I'll see if I can find it, but it was pretty powerful to me. It just gave me a good feeling inside of where Navajo people have been. I guess this is very similar and common to a lot of Native people or Indigenous people around the world. So here's how it goes. It says on this day in 1805, a battalion of Spanish soldiers led by Lieutenant Antonio Narbona massacred over 300 Diné women, children, and elders in Canyon De Chelly, okay, which is near Chinle, Arizona. On this cold winter night, we remember our relatives who were savagely killed in Massacre Cave over 200 years ago. I'm not too sure if I pronounced this correctly, but Dijine, old grandmother, told me this. She was there. It happened more than one old man's life ago. Many Navajo lived around there then, late in the fall or about time the big winds came. The men would go to a deer hunt in the Lukuchikai Mountains, which that's the community where my family and my relatives reside. They would have important blessing way ceremonies while they made the hunting gear. When they arrived at the mount hunting grounds, great corrals were made of logs and the deer driven into them. It was early winter. The snow was just starting to crust. All of the able-bodied men were away hunting. Only the women, children, and a few aged or crippled men and women were in the hogans. Early one frosty morning, an elder woman came screaming up the canyon. The Spanish soldiers and with Zunis are at Chinle, which is present-day Chinle, Arizona. Mothers clutched their babies in their cradle boards. The young and strong helped the crippled and aged. They all started up the canyon to hide in that cave. In those days, the Navajo called it Hiding Cave. They knew the Spanish and Pueblos were afraid to enter the mouth of the canyons at Chinle and would follow the rim. By evening, everyone was in the cave. The leaders told them not to build fires or make any noise. Young men were posted in the rocks to give the warning if the Spanish appeared. When the moon started to sink, my grandmother heard the Spanish cursing their mules as they drove them over the rough rocks along the rim. Then she saw their black figures strung out against the lemon-yellow moon glow. They passed on toward Spruce Creek. Morning came. The Navajos thought that their enemies were gone. Just when they started to take full breaths, the Spanish appeared at the foot of the cliffs. The Spanish and Zunis followed horse and sheep tracks to the head of a small canyon a few miles above and worked their way down over a hidden horse trail. That's the trail we Navajo called where the Mexicans came down. Of course, now the rocks have fallen and a horse can't make it. It's even dangerous for a man. The Spanish started to climb the cliff. The Navajo rolled stones down, up on them, and the women, children, and older ones shot arrows. Remember that Navajo women in those days were warriors. After the Navajo drove back the Spanish who were attacking them from the canyon bottom, an old woman who had been a slave to the Mexicans got away and ran out of the cave yelling, cursing in Spanish. One party of Mexicans had hidden on the rim, and just as she yelled, they came out on the point to the west of the cave. They looked closer and saw the Navajo huddled together, taking care. Full aim, the Spanish fired into the Navajo. The bullets could not hit them directly, so they started glancing them off. For a long time they fired and only stopped when there was no movement in the cave below. Then the party from down in the canyon came up and finished the wounded with their lances and gun butts. Old grandmother was lucky. they could not find her because she hid under a large rock. It was 2 days before she dared sneak out. She feared to go back into the cave, for she knew that all the Navajos were dead. 2 days later, men came back from their hunt. They chased the Spanish in pueblos and caught up with them near Wide Ruins, Arizona. A great many Mexicans and Zunis were wounded, but because the Navajo arrows would not travel as far as the musket balls of their enemies, they could only wound them. Along the way, the Spanish in pueblos enslaved over 36 Navajo women and children, many of them whom were caught near Ganado and Clagato, Arizona. Okay, this was a recount of Chi Anderson in 1940. Okay, so there's a lot in here, and this is why this made an impact on me, because first of all, my relatives and my ancestors are from Saley, Upper Greasewood, Lukachiga area. Okay, so I grew up running around these the Chushka Mountains, or the mountains on top of Lukachiga. My Manila saw my dad's mom, actually my Che, my mom's dad. They both had summer camps up in the mountains there. So I ran those hills a lot growing up, herding sheep with my cousins. And when I read this, I felt it inside. I felt that connection to the story, and I don't know the exact name of the individual, but I think that's the power of this little story. And another reason why this is kind of hit me was, I think a lot of times because of colonialism, Native people were put against each other. Okay, and I think that goes to show you, that as scouts or a part of raiding parties, Native people had to fight against each other. I've read books as well about Navajos as well, aligning themselves with the U.S. Cavalry against surrounding tribes, because of colonialism. So, whenever I read that piece, my family out in between Lukachiga and Tsaili, I remember driving through that area, and there was a part where you weren't supposed to eat because that was where they corralled the deer. Right, there's a section of road where you're not supposed to eat any food in between there, and it was taboo. But anyway, that like they were saying, where they chased the deer into that corral, the logs that were put up. That's very near where my family is, and we had a spring and fall where we grazed our livestock. So, but when I read that, I was like, there was a connection there. I mean, in addition to that, my Nullis dad or grandfather was up Black Rock, up in that Saley Creek area. He was a hunter. He was a guide. He used to take people up in that area and take them hunting. And I remember seeing a picture of my Nullis Sauce dad or grandpa with bearskin and stuff like that. Taking people up there to hunt. So this kind of reminded me of the history of my Nullis or my Kivachitni clan side, okay, which is my dad's clan. So it kind of struck a little chord inside of me. So I just wanted to share that with everybody out there. And I know each of you all have unique stories towards in your past that are important to you, and you think about that, and we all have a history, and I think that's one thing about Native people, that we are proud, and we know our grandmother's grandmother because of our clans are maternal. So even if it's your paternal clan or Shije or my dad's clan, there's a lot of pride with my dad's family, and that side, because that's who we are today, as people, as Indian people in the in 2021. So I think that's I just want to share that with you all, and thanks for listening, and like the page. I'll share other stuff. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I share a lot of information about Native events in communities, not just the Navajo, but in Indigenous communities and Native communities in the United States, and sometimes in Canada as well. Okay, so again, thank you, and have a good evening.